today to honor and remember the life of Tuvia Pomeranitz. We ask that you please silence your cell phones if you have not done so already. Officiating today's service will be Rabbi Tal Sessler. Thank you.
Thank you for being here this afternoon to embrace the Pomeranitz family at this trying time. We begin the service with a recitation of Psalms. The Psalms attributed to King David in our tradition offer us strength and solace and perspective and love and solidarity even in the most challenging of times. Psalm 15. Mizmor leDavid, Adonai mi yagur be'olecha, mi yishkon be'ar kodeshecha. A psalm composed by King David. Almighty God, who will sojourn in your tent? Who will dwell in divine consciousness? Olech tamim u'foel tzedek, v'dover emet bilvavo. A person who walks righteously and acts justly and speaks the truth even in one's innermost heart. Lo vagal al leshono, a person who speaks not vile words about others. Lo asa lere'eu ra'a, a person who harms not a fellow human being. Vecherpa lo nasa al kiravo, a person who stays away from self-disgrace. Nivzeh be'enav nim'as ve'tirei Adonai yechabed, a person who shies away from negative influence and honors those who are worthy of being honored. Nishba lehara v'lo yamir, a person who swears even to personal detriment. Kaspo lo natan beneshech v'shochad al naki lo lakach. Oseh ele lo yimot leolam. He who does all those things shall never spiritually falter. Psalm 121. Shir LaMa'alot Esai Me'arim Me'ayin Yavo Ezri, a psalm for the ascent. I lift my eyes unto the mountain, from whence will my help come? Ezri Mi'im Adonai Oseh Shamayim Va'aretz. My help comes from the Almighty, Maker of heaven and earth. Al yitem lamot raglecha, al yanum shomrecha. Hine lo yanum v'lo yishan shomer Israel. Behold, the guardian of Israel neither sleeps nor slumbers. Adonai shomrecha, Adonai tzilcha al yad yaminecha. The Almighty is your guardian. The Almighty is your shadow by your right hand. Yovam hashemesh lo yakeka ve'yareach balayla. By day the sun will not strike you, nor the moon by night. Adonai shmocha mikola yishmor et nafshecha. The Almighty will safeguard your soul from evil. The Almighty will safeguard your soul. Adonai yishmor tzedcha v'orecha me'ata ve'ad olam. The Almighty will safeguard your comings and goings from now to eternity. Amen. Dear Efrat and Selah and Peleg, I also want to recognize Tal and Tuvia's niece who came from New York, Naama, as well as the family of Nili, Tuvia's sister, and her family in Israel, and Tuvia's sister, Michal, and their family in Israel. We're here to embrace you today and to bid farewell to the physical presence of Tuvia, who grew up in a kibbutz in Israel called Givat HaShlosha by Petach Tikva, the son of Mordechai and Tova, Nili and Michal's brother, whom I've learned from you, Efrat, was a charismatic person who filled the room with his presence, a person who was endowed with a wonderful sense of humor. The Talmud says that those who are gifted with a sense of humor are guaranteed to share in the world to come, because in this world we need a reason to smile and to laugh so that we can all keep on going. A person, on the other hand, Tuvia, was serious, goes down to the smallest minutiae and details when it's needed, be it for planning a trip or for work. A person with boundless energy, like the Torah says about the first Jewish patriarch, Abraham, Avraham Baba Yamim, would enter into his days with energy, with invigoration. We're here to mourn, but we're also here to celebrate Tuvia's life. His dominance, his vibrancy, his inclusivity. As we've seen from this slideshow, the purpose of today's service is to have a service b'tzalmo u'b'dmuto, in his image and in his likeness. There was a nurse in palliative care in Australia called Bronnie Ware, who wrote a book called The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying. And in this book, she noted, what are those things that most of us look back upon at life's final journey? And it turns out that the most frequent wish that people have at the end of their life is the following: I wish I had lived the life that I truly wanted to, and not the life that others expected of me. From everything that I've learned from you, Efrat, about Tuvia, it's clear to me that he had lived the life that he wanted to, that he nurtured and cultivated his friendship with his friends for decades, for over half a century, that he was a steadfast and loving husband and father, that he lived life to the fullest. Teheh nishmato tzua b'tzua chaim. May his soul be bound in the bond of eternal life. Amen. The first speaker for today's service is Lauren, who has been a steadfast family friend for some 21 years now.
Hello, everyone. It's an honor to be here and be asked to speak about my friend Tuvia. I was thinking a lot about him in these recent months, days, and I thought to myself, Tuvia is an enigma, such a different kind of a person. And what I did was, I started to compare him to the pomegranate. Now, you know a pomegranate fruit, when you remove it from the tree, it has that spiky little top. It's a little bit prickly, it's a little bit spiky. That was part of Tuvia's personality. At times he was a little spiky, right? He was a little bit pointed, let's say it that way. The outside of the pomegranate, it's a tough shell. It's hard, right, when you're trying to open it. That was Tuvia. He was a tough guy. He showed himself as a tough person. Okay, it's hard work to get a pomegranate. Once you crack it open, you have to work. But it is so worth it. It is worth it. It is multifaceted inside. It is sweet. It is tart. It is sour. It is all the elements of our Tuvia. From his dark humor, to his interesting sarcasm, to his kindness and sweetness, his family would tell you he's had all of those aspects. He was tough, he's loving. He's kind, he's wonderful. That element was our Tuvia. And I have to say that the reward of the friendship with him that he showed many of us, all of us sitting here today, is beyond recognizable. The dark humor is something I have to take a moment and say, and that is this. I believe Tuvia is sitting here right now watching us, And he's probably saying, gee, if I knew all you people were gonna gather and say nice things about me, I would make sure I was there. I mean, he would be so thrilled that everyone is here and everyone is taking care and everyone is thinking of him. The one thing I think you may have noticed is he had that t-shirt that said, I speak sarcasm. And I think of Tuvia all the time. And there was a famous author, her name was Ayn Rand, and she said this. She said, when I die, I hope to go to heaven, wherever the hell that is. I really believe wherever the hell that is, our Tuvia is there, entertaining, he's talking to people, and he's being the big personality that he always had. And I want to just end with this. He was a wonderful man, loved by all who knew him, loved by his family, his colleagues, his friends. I believe he's going to live on in all our hearts. I just want to say, we never lose our loved ones. They accompany us always. They do not disappear from our lives. For now, they are just in a different room. Thank you.
Yossi and Miki Aronyan have been friends with the Pomeranitz family for some 50 years now.
Tuvia was just not a friend, but a family. Tuvia and Yossi were classmates from the age of 12, lived on the same kibbutz in Israel, worked in the cotton fields together, loved and thrived each and every minute of it, and had the most amazing experiences that most young people don't know anything about. That was the kibbutz life. I moved to the kibbutz from New Jersey at the age of 18 and met all these wonderful people. My husband, Efrat and Tuvia, and many friends that we are still in touch with today, over 40 years. It was very common at the time to work outside the kibbutz, to make a few bucks, and visit anywhere in the world you wanted to go. Tuvia and Yossi wanted to come to America, so the three of us set out our life journey. If you all know Tuvia, he loved his Jeep, his off-roading, his RV, his nature, especially Utah. He just couldn't get enough of the Jeep trails, and the most difficult, the better. And the priceless scenery, God's country. Tuvia planned and executed the most beautiful and amazing trips we have ever gone on. Every detail was considered. He was a perfectionist. He would sit for nights on end, mapping out every point of interest for off-road. No rock was left unturned. If the road didn't have rocks or pebbles, which were the most annoying to drive on with the Jeep, he wanted nothing to do with it. Utah was indeed his Mecca. As he would say in Hebrew, Zal lo yavin zot. No one would understand it. Some people come into our lives and quickly go. Others stay a while, make footprints in our hearts, and we are never the same. Tuvia, you were taken from us, all who loved you, way too early, at such a young age. You have struggled and fought for life for over 3.5 years, battling this monster of a disease which finally caught up with you. We have lost an amazing human being, but we all are richer for the memories he left in our hearts and minds. Thank you, Tuvia, for your friendship, your laughter, your jokes that will never be forgotten, your leadership, your stubbornness that made you who you are, your love and your kindness. We will always cherish the most memorable times together with family trips, holidays, or just hanging out. They will never be the same. So we will not say goodbye, but we'll simply say, Litrot. Your light will shine forever. Rest in peace.
Our next speaker is nicknamed Snoopy, and he represents the Jeep Club that Tuvia was a member of.
So many people here that I recognize. All them friends of Tuvia, friends I've not seen before. He has a vast amount of friends. I've been very saddened by the passing of Tuvia. He's been a good husband, a father, and a children friend to all of us. I know his journey to his new home will go as planned, as he really enjoyed all the details when planning a trip. I remember when he first joined our Jeep Club about 15 years ago, he was very distant, quiet, and mild-mannered. As time went on, he came out of his shell and a leader in our Jeep Club, holding many, many offices, including president, vice president, wagon master, and his all-time favorite was treasurer, as he was in control of our club treasury. Did I mention control of the money? He really, really liked that. As time went by, Tuvia wanted to do his own maintenance and repairs. He was a real whiz at being an electrician, but needed some guidance with his Jeep fixing. Tuvia and I became really good friends, and for some reason, he thought I knew a lot about Jeeps. The reason I knew a lot about Jeeps is because I had to fix my own so many times. Well, I knew more than Tuvia did. So for many years, he confided in with me, helping him through the learning process. I remember one day he called me to tell me he had just gone out and bought a bunch of tools for working on his vehicles. On sale, of course. I just had to I just had to go to his house and see him while he had really bought some good stuff. He was working one day on the Subaru, replacing some front-end components. He got a quote on from the dealer. I don't recall the actual amount, but I'm sure Tuvia wasn't going to spend any more than necessary. Oh yeah, he was also teaching Pele some of the methods of repairing that he had learned. He asked me to come over and supervise. He only wanted me to watch, because I was still recovering from shoulder surgery. Well, that to me was such an accomplishment for Tuvia to teach Pele what he had learned. One thing I'll always remember about Tuvia was our text communication, and myself for trying to figure out what the heck he was talking about. As he was converting Hebrew to English language, and that was always a challenge for him. The eulogy came out to being really fun, of course. Our text conversations usually led to phone conversation and resolved the issue. I will dearly miss our camaraderie over the years. The camping, the jeeping trails that we all went on together. Tuvia, I will forever miss your friendship, sense of humor, smile, love of life. You are now pain-free. Healthy and enjoy the things you love again. Love knows no boundaries, even though it divides heaven and earth. So whenever we sail, just remember, our hearts are always connected together forever.
Thank you. Avi and Rachel are longtime friends from the kibbutz. Please come forward. Are Avi and Rachel here? Yes.
This is something that Avram wrote to Tuvia, but it was too late. Tuvia didn't, so we will tell him now what he wrote. It's in Hebrew. I apologize. רציתי לכתוב כמה מילים. קודם כל, אתה אדם וחבר שלא רואים היום. אני כמו הרבה אנשים חייבים לך תודה על הדברים שעשית, כמו טיולים, שאילולא אתה לא היינו מגיעים לשם בחיים. למדתי ממך הרבה, אני חייב לך במוקדם או במאוחר. גם אני אהיה שם, מקווה שתכין מסלולים יפים. רחל ואני כל זמן שאנחנו עדיין פה נמשיך לאהוב ולעזור לאפרת, פלט וצלע בכל האהבה. דרך אגב, יוסי נסע בפראות עם הערבי שלך וצעקתי עליו וזרקתי אותו מהקלב. אני עדיין הנשיא, אז זהו זה. עד שאני אגיע, תמיד תהיה אצלי במחשבות.
We invite now Knan, who is a childhood friend of Efrat.
Woke up this morning, it was about 3 a.m. And I said to myself, today is my last chance to say the last word. And I'm arguing with Tuvia. keep it like this. I'll see you next. I know Tuvia for 62 years. The reason I know that because I'm 62 and we was born and raised in the same small hometown in Israel, Kibbutz, already been mentioned, named Givat HaShlosha. When I came to this country, he picked me up from the airport and put me in my first apartment at North Hollywood. I did ask what Beverly Hills, but it was North Hollywood. He was make sure that I eat dinner every day as a kibbutznik. That came over here, of course, we know nothing. He was make sure when Lily died, he even paid for that. I bought my first car for him. It was a Toyota Celica, orange. I didn't check the car. I knew it was in perfect condition, and the oil change was changed not even a miles over 3,000. A couple months after, with all my money gone, I told him that I'm going back home. He told me, no, you don't. Come work with me. This day was just me and him, work and work. I stayed with him about 3-4 years at $4-5 an hour. But 34 years after, I'm still here. So he already did something right. I remember the day that we realized that Tuvia is sick. Yossi and Avi called me and said, hey, come with us to, I don't remember where was it.
Expo.
Where?
Agriculture Expo.
Yeah, Expo to see combine and huge days that we grow up with them in the kibbutz. And I asked, where is Tuvia? And he said, Dad, he had a scheduled colonoscopy. And I said, I'm not going to say it over here. The go-ahead doctor, basically, you know. Unfortunately, the outcome was a stage 4, and here we are right now. Tuvia fought a very long fight. My wife got sick after Tuvia with the same disease, fighting the same monsters, and passed away 11 months ago. The last 2 weeks of her life is when I started to text back from her phone and answer our friends. She got a text from Tuvia. I answered it. And then I realized that they are cheating each other for quite some time. I allowed myself to go back and saw that it was very surprisingly. I didn't know Tuvia after a lifetime knowing him that they had those conversations. Tuvia, your war is over. Time to rest. I'm sure you left the flat, Sela and Pele, with the instruction when to oil change the Rubicon. Probably the first love, no disrespect the frat, which I know her since she is my classmate from age 14 or 13, something like that. The RV and all the other cars that they have. Rest in peace, old friend. And when you're going up, if you see my wife, say hi and stay away. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for coming. Guys.
And now, Ronnie, please.
טוב, אני היחידי לא בגבעת השלושה, אני אומר. Well, actually it started like 2 weeks ago. I wake up very early in the morning and I saw Tuvia's face in front of me, with his smile, the great smile. And I started to write to him, started to write and to write and to write. 5 o'clock in the morning, I wrote it in Hebrew, of course, 7 pages. And I sent it to him 2 weeks ago. So he read it, and just from all these 7 pages, I got, we have a high officer here, she gave me 1 minute. So I had to cut the 7 pages, and this is the pages that I'm reading to you. Those are the pages that Tuvia confirmed. Okay? So, when you, Tuvia, and Efrat bought your new home in Redondo, I brought you, it's so strange, there was a lady before, a very nice lady that compared him to Pomeranitz. I compare him to Lockwood. It's the same idea. So hard from outside and so sweet from inside. So I bought you, Tuvia, I'm looking, a Lockwood tree as a gift to the new home. It was many years ago. This small tree became during the years to a tall, strong, and big tree that gives a lot of fruits every year. Big and beautiful Lockwood fruits. And the most important, it's tasty and sweet in an amazing way. You, Tuvia, remind me this tree, tall and strong and earthy, with deep roots in the ground. Kibbutznik. We say shortly in Hebrew, kibbutznik. That even that he left the kibbutz so many years ago, he still liked to wear this na'alei dafna, sandalei dafna, open sandals, and to wear jeans and t-shirt that was his clothes. Always with great sense of humor. Everybody that talked here today spoke about his great sense of humor. We all love him because he was telling jokes. He loved to tell jokes, and we love his sense of humor. Could be sarcastic sometimes from outside, but inside, like the lady before me said, it's sweet, like either pomegranate or I say like a Lockwood fruit, like from the tree that I brought you many, many years ago. And you, Vicky, remember that. I see by your smile. When I think about you, Tuvia, I think immediately about the nature. Nature, that was the main thing. Since you and the nature coming together, you all the time need the open space. You couldn't stay at home. You have a jeep and caravan, the team, to the mountain, to the valleys, to the rivers, to the nature. There was nothing that you enjoyed more than taking your jeep and take your trailer with your beautiful, lovely family that I know so well, and some good friends that I also know so well, Avi, Rochale, and Nikki, and some other guys, and to go to the nature, go to a beautiful park and start climbing, going up to the mountain and then looking from there to the beauty of the nature. You always remind me, beside being a Lockwood, a beautiful proud eagle that need the open space, spread his wings and fly up in the sky, saflu lemala, going up in the sky, observe the nature below in its beauty and its wonder, and enjoy so much just to look and to see the nature. If you saw the picture while we were sitting here, it was 90% nature. Nature and a fright, nature and a fright, and the two boys. That was the nature and the family. We, the human being, are so tiny and before that, about the eagle, the nature, you always remind me of a proud eagle that need an open space, observe the nature and see the beauty of the nature. Now we are small in this world. We, the human being, we are in a cemetery. We in a cemetery. We are today here, tomorrow we are there. So we don't have a clue where we're going from here when we live in this amazing big universe. Some of us say that our body got together with the earth from afar ata el afar teshuv, from dust to dust, and some other ones that believe in reincarnation. They all say that the body goes back to the earth, but the soul, the spirit of the human being, this soul is moving on to another human being, or maybe to another creature at all, like an aqua tree, or like an eagle. So, one thing I'm sure, Tuvia, whenever I look up to the sky, and I will see an eagle fly up there, and enjoy so much from the beauty of the nature, or I will come to visit in your house, like I did 2 weeks ago. And I will enjoy from this beautiful, strong, and tall lakwa that I gave you guys, I don't know, 20 years ago, and eat the tasty fruit of the lakwat, I will always think of you. We love you, Tuvia, and all of us gather here because we love you and we always remember you. Thank you.
Thank you to Mr. Roni Yitzhaki, and now it's time for Efrat, Sela, and Peleg to say a few words as well.
Hi, everybody. This is adapted from a letter I wrote my dad and got to share with him before he passed. Dear Abba, I love you. You've always been my hero. Since I was little, I've looked up to you and learned from you and wanted to be someone you were proud of. I learned everything from you. The value of hard work and honesty, and the value of your reputation. The value of showing up on time, of playing music so loud that it rattles the windows. The value of loyalty and of providing for others, and for being the rock of a family. You showed me the value of sitting down with the maps and careful planning, thinking through your problems, being prepared, and being ready for anything. You showed me the value of the deserts and the mountains and the sea. You taught me how important it is to leave it all behind you, to get in the car and go. How important it is to find a camel to ride after your bar mitzvah. How important it is to stir the shit and find the joke in everything. That's a pretty big one, man. Thank you, Abba, for everything. I wouldn't be anything without you, all the time and money and life you invested in me. I carry you with me everywhere I go. You're such a part of me, I can't be anything but a little bit of you. You're gone, but you're still here. Every time I turn the steering wheel, you're there, reminding me to check the mirrors. Every time I hold a flashlight, you're there, reminding me to hold it steadier. Whenever I set my mind to do something and do it, you're there. Whenever I'm stubborn and know I'm right no matter what, you're definitely there. Every time I feel the need to crack a joke and ruin a sentimental moment, you're there and you're smiling. The most important thing you ever told me when I struggled against life and thought I wasn't going to make it was that the sun would rise tomorrow. You've been right every day of my life.
Hello. In honor of my father, I will keep this short and sweet and to the point. I love my father very much. He was the strongest man I knew. He was a peculiar but very passionate and affable man. In the 21 years I have known him, he has taught me a great number of things. He would find something funny to say in any situation, no matter how grievous. He was even cracking jokes to the nurses on his deathbed. We got along best when we were making fun of something or other together. I got my sense of humor from him, an essential part of how I navigate my life and without which I would be completely lost. From him, I also got my love of all things technical. Dad taught me how to change the oil in my car. He taught me how to rotate the tires and replace the air filter. He taught me how to refill a grease fitting, a process during which we would both get very messy. He also taught me how to use a computer. We often bonded over odd and interesting new computer stuff. I'm now approaching a career in computers, so I owe some of that to him as well. He also loved nature, and he took us on a number of trips. If there's a weird-looking rock in any desert within a 3-state radius, he's taken us to see it. As a family and with the rough wheelers, he took us to see countless natural formations that boggle the imagination. All in all, I want to express my thanks to him for spending his life providing for us and making me the person I am today.
My Tuvia, Tuvik, the love of my life, is no longer with us. It is so hard to grasp, and it is impossible to accept that he will no longer be around for the rest of our lives. A strong man, full of energy, vitality, and with dominant presence and powerful personality, always joyful and fun to be around. A strong-minded, opinionated, and larger-than-life human being, and he is gone. He took up space in every room he entered. If he were here right now, you would know it. He had an aura, a glowing and bright smile that lit up every room. He had a dark sense of humor, and he was witty and quick to return a joke in any situation. Nothing was sacred. His own illness, his own mortality, anything and everything was a good reason for a new joke. You should have seen him when he entered the oncology departments for the treatments. As soon as he got in the door, you will hear a whole thing saying, "Mr. Tuvia is here. Good morning, Mr. Tuvia. How are you doing, Mr. Tuvia?" for all corners of the departments. He will immediately launch into performance. You will think it was a stand-up comedy show and not the oncology department. He will change all the environment. Like everybody will be uplifted. It was like people are dying here, by the way. Like Tuvia is here. Everybody is laughing no matter what. But let me tell you, do not let him fool you. Tuvia was a man of many facets. The man was also extremely serious, detail-oriented,
and perfectionist to everything he did. When it comes to work, there was no cutting corners. If he was planning off road trips for us or for Jeep Club, they were planned to perfection. Everything was in the plan. And then his work again. When he did the electrical wiring in our own house, the city inspection said to me, I don't know who did the wiring in this house, but this is the best work I've ever seen in my entire career. And that was his career. If you did not perform to his high standards, he would let you know. He was a hardworking man, self-made, building his company with his own two hands. Every morning he would put his working shoes, jeans and jean shirt, ready to put hands on everything he needed to be fixed. Even on the days that he was really sick, he would get up, get rest, and go. There were times when he turned around, he said, I cannot go on the freeway, got back to bed, but he would never stop trying. Even when it was like no energies at all, he would push himself, try to work a few more hours a day, because that was his life, work was his life. He lived in high standard and high rules. I remember taking a flight to Israel and sitting next to a total stranger. We start talking. And eventually the guy asked me, what was the name of my husband? I said, Tuvia. And the strangers said, this man can make rulers look crooked. And he was right. He was right on. He could make rulers look crooked. He was so straightforward and honest beyond normal standards. Then there was us, the family. Taking care of us and all the needs was his first priority. He was not a lovey-dovey kind of a guy, but that was his way to show his love to us. Until his 40s, mid-40s, he was absolutely workaholic. No, that one, I forgot it. And then he stumbled into the Jeep Club, and his life changed completely. His Jeep became his refuge, his peace, his new baby. Now, work was very important, but he had more balance and realized that leisure time is as important as work. The family started traveling a lot, and we made many, many memories with our kids. In the last 3.5 years that he was sick, we made an effort to take more and many trips together as possible to make the most out of very ways that he is still here with us. Tuvia was the love of my life, and I'm lucky to enjoy the last 27 years with him. He is leaving us with a huge worry that would be impossible to fill back up. It is going to be quiet and very difficult to continue from here without him. But he left me with two amazing presents, our boys. I'm so proud of them. Each one of them is a mensch in his very own way. I take pride in our amazing boys. They have been wonderful throughout this journey. They have been wonderful throughout this journey. And together, we are tight and strong, and will be continuing his legacy. And I have to add one more thing. I know we're here to honor Tuvia, but I have to point out so many good people stepped up and supported us through this difficult time. Old friends, neighbors, and wonderful people we don't even know. But I have to mention one, Oscar Sequenza. Worked with Tuvia for 22 years. He was his right-hand man in business. And Oscar is, Oscar, are you here? Oscar is angel on earth. He took over everything that Tuvia could not do anymore, to the point that he ran and saved the business. And for that, Tuvia was so grateful to Oscar, and so we are. Oscar is a definition of loyalty and friendship. Thank you. I thank you all for coming today to honor our beloved Tuvia. Appreciate the time. Thank you.
We're now going to recite the prayer for the elevation of the soul, known in Hebrew as Kel Maleh Rachamim. Please rise. El Maleh Rachamim, Shokim Bameronim, המצי מנוחה נכונה על כנפי השכינה, במעלות קדושים וטובים כזרקי המזהירים, את נשמת טוביה בן מרדכי וטובה פומרנץ, שהלך לעולמו, בעבור שאנחנו מתפללים בעד הזכרת נשמתו וגן עדן תהיה מנוחתו. לכן ברחמים יסתירו בסתר כנפיו בעולמים, ליצור בצור החיים את נשמתו, אדוני ונחלתו, וינוח בשלום על משכבו, ונאמר אמן. God, full of compassion, who dwells on high, grant proper repose on the sheltering rings of your presence, in the lofty levels of the holy and the pure who shine as the brightness of the firmament, and to the soul of Tuvia, the son of Mordechai and Tova Pomeranitz, who is gone to his world, and for whose memory we lovingly pray with his family here today. May his repose be in paradise. May the Master of Compassion bring him under the cover of God's wings, and bind his soul in the bond of life. May the Lord be his heritage, and may he repose on his resting place in peace. And let us respond by saying, Amen.
If everyone could please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the conclusion of the chapel portion of today's service. The family would like to extend an invitation to gather at the Pomeranitz residence at the conclusion of the graveside service. There are directions printed and placed outside of the chapel doors. At this time, I will begin to call out the casket bearers who will be escorting Tuvia to his final resting place. When you hear your name, please rise and stand alongside his casket. As we begin to pass by your row, you are dismissed to exit the chapel so you may promptly follow the funeral coach in procession to Tuvia's final resting place. Casket bearers, please come forward. Oscar Seguenza, Yehuda Haddad, Brony Yitzhaki, Daniel Rapalian, Woodstock, Uriah. Please note that we will be walking to the final resting place located in the Garden of Rachel. We will also have a limo cart available should you need it. Ladies and gentlemen, in honor of Tuvia Pomeranitz, please rise.
יושב בסדר עליון בצל שדי תלונן, אמר לאדוני מה ציון צורתי, אלוהי אפתח בו, כאילו יצילך מפח ירקוש מדבר אבות, ועבדתו יוסף לך, ותחת כנפיו תחסה, שנאה וסופרה עמיתו, לא תירא מפחד לילה, מחץ יעוף יומם, מדבר באופל יהלוך, מכתב ישות צהריים, יפול מצדך 1000 ורבבה מימינך, אליך לא ניגש, רק ואליך תביט, ושמורת משל תראה, כי אתה אדוני מחצי, ולא נשמת לנו לך, לא תעובה אליך רעה, ונגע לא ניגש תורתך, כי מלאכה בסתובו רצו, ונשכה בכל
The people who carried same people? The same people, yes.
They're gonna
Hold on, they're not all here.
1 second, they're going to place them first and then we'll I'm not just here. Once they're on the
How many more are missing? 3? 3? The pallbearers from before, Nosea 1.
Hi Mario.
Yeah, מחכים לך.
Yeah, let me give you a minute and let them out.
Where's Harvey? Yes, thank you, thank
עצור תמים פועלו ככל דרכיו משפט, אין אמונה ואין עוול, צדיק וישר הוא. עצור תמים בכל פועל, מי יאמר לו מה תפעל, השליט במטה ובמעל. ממית ומחיה, מוריד שאול ויעל. עצור תמים בכל מעשה, מי יאמר אליו מה תעשה, האומר ועושה, חסד חינם לנו תעשה, ובזכות הנעקד כסה, הקשיבה ועשה. צדיק בכל דרכיו, עצור תמים, ערך אפיים ומלא רחמים, עמונה וחוסנה על אבות ובנים, ולך אדון הסליחות והרחמים. צדיק אתה אדוני להמית ולהחיות, אשר בידך פקדון כל רוחות, חלילה לך זיכרוננו למחות, ויהיו לעיניך ברחמים עלינו פקחות, כי לך אדון הרחמים והסליחות. אדם אם בן שנה יהיה, ו1000 שנים יחיה, מה יתרום לו, כי לא היה יהיה. ברוך דיין האמת, ממית ומחיים. ברוך הוא כי אמת דינו, ומשוטט הכל בעינו, וישלם לאדם חשבונו ודינו, והכל ישמו הודיה ייתן. ידענו אדוני כי צדק משפטיך, כי צדק בדבריך, ותזכה בשופטיך. ואין לערער אחר מידת שופטיך, צדיק אתה אדוני וישר משפטיך. דיין אמת, שופט צדק ואמת, ברוך דיין האמת, שכל משפטיו צדק ואמת. נפש כל חי בידיך, צדק מלאה ימיניך בידיך. ואחר על פרקת צאן ידיך, ותאמר למלאך חרף ידיך. גדול העצה ורב העלייה, אשר עיניך פקחות על כל דרכי בני אדם, וחט לאיש כדרכיו וכפרם העלה. להגיד כי ישר אדוני צורי ולא עוולה כבוד. The Lord has given and the Lord has taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. אדוני נתן ואדוני לקח. יהי שם אדוני מבורך. וירפו יכפר אבו מן השחית, ובא נשיב אפו ולא ירפך המתוק. וירפו יכפר אבו מן השחית, ובא נשיב אפו ולא יעיף פרח המתוק. We're going to commence this final gesture of physical farewell. And Sarah and Philip, would you want to?
I would like to.
And Kyle, please.
עכשיו מי שרוצה להשתתף בבחירה. מי שרוצה, מי שמרגיש מלכה.
Okay, we're going to start the process of the actual interment now. We will start with close to the friends and the immediate family first. Please come forward.
Probably directing, though.
invocation of the Congress. Thank you.
Phil, did you see us?
Hey. Good to see you.
Behind you.
We've been doing video the whole time.
Are you staying at a friend's? Well, I'll drop by definitely in time to sign this part. Definitely
Yikada v'yikada shemei Rabba ve'amad mizrach v'yotei ve'amlik malchutei v'chayachon v'yomachon v'chayei v'chol beit Yisrael v'agala u'biman david v'dimu amen. Yehei shemei Rabba mevorach v'olam v'mayam v'yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'al v'yitronam v'yithalal v'yithalek v'yithalal shmei v'yikudשא v'yikudשא ve'elam mikol נתירתה ונשירתה יוקדה ושירתה ושבתה ונחמתה ואמירם ועלמה ואילו אמן. יהי שמרה משמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואילו אמן. עושה שלום בגרונם הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואילו אמן.
The last thing we're going to do here is form 2 lines, and the family, father and the children will walk in between those 2 lines, and this is a way of enveloping them with our presence and sympathies. So we'd like to have 2 lines here.
Two lines facing one another. Forward. Go out here. Come down a little bit farther so people can squeeze in.
Walk through the 2 lines that represent your love and support for them. I'd like you to repeat after me the traditional greeting in Hebrew that we say when the Shabbat starts. Please, repeat to my children if it's not working. May the Almighty comfort you alongside all the brothers and God and the listener. Please repeat after me again on the phone. Uniform, Reform, Reform, Shalom, Paul, Adonai,
It's hot. You know, people don't think that. I'll keep that about a perfect now. Okay, yes. Are you leaving now? No, it's just a little bit. And I'll take you back down. The family would like to invite you to the gathering after service. Directions are printed and placed on the back of the table behind the canopy if you still have an opportunity to do so. Thank you.
שם הוא כבר לא יצא. היית עושה בדיחות, נכון? אני עדיין עושה בדיחות. טל מה? טל כמובן. עמדנו לפני המון שנים, אני רוצה להגיד לפחות 20. מה עשינו? ציבור של צפן. היית חשוב מקביל בזה? זה היה פלאבר שלי. עכשיו הוא חברים טובים עד היום הזה. Whatever you guys want. I have to stop at my house to get a cake.